Welcome everyone, back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we'll have a detailed look at the impending thunderstorms that are heading into southern England at the moment. So do remember, if you enjoyed my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. Do remember to follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description. Now, we've been looking at these thunderstorms over the last few days, and a lot of the models have been very poor at modelling exactly where it's going to be, changing run on run. And we are starting to see it actually evolve in practice. And we can see where the major thunderstorms are at the moment. It does look like the most sort of lightning activity is going to be in sort of the Kent area. There is quite wide, heavy rain in the south and southeast, heading into East Anglia as well. But the lightning activity mainly is in these darker red areas, closer to the sort of instability on sort of mainland Europe. Now, this is the first wave of many waves of thunderstorms we're going to likely be seeing over the next few days, and I can guarantee you at least one of these thunderstorm rounds will probably be better than expected, and some will probably be one of them will probably be worse than expected. So at the moment, looking how this has developed, it's pretty much what we expected, really, with the main bulk of the rain heading through sort of the London area with thunderstorms embedded within it. Now, if we do look further south and west, you can see there's more showers and thunderstorms starting to pep up. These are going to be all heading in a sort of north-northeast direction, and you can see sort of round 2 of thunderstorms now developing in the Bay of Biscay, which are going to be heading through sort of mid-morning tomorrow, and those are expected to be a bit further west. So again, we'll have to keep an eye on their exact track, but at this stage, most of the models are showing it forming in sort of central southern England, perhaps going through the Midlands, and maybe clipping parts of eastern England as well. So really have to keep an eye on how these thunderstorms do develop. But it does look like some areas in central England and southern England could see a lot of rain over the next few hours and days. So we've got this first round of thunderstorms moving through. We do have some very heavy sort of isolated cells, but we do have a general area of heavier rain. Then behind it we do have some more showers and thunderstorms moving in, and then we have a bigger area of thunderstorms that's going to be moving through tomorrow morning. And then overnight tomorrow into Friday, we have this other trough that is sitting over towards northern France, producing immense lightning rates. We'll have a look at the lightning rates in a minute, but immense lightning rates in these storms. Now, there's not going to be these exact storms hitting the UK sort of Thursday into Friday, but it's the trough that is forming these storms, which is going to be heading towards the UK. So we'll really have to keep an eye on that. But so far, it does look like it's not going to be a bust for these thunderstorms. Definitely looks like thunderstorms are developing and are going to continue to develop over the next couple of days. So at least we have got that right. But just the exact location, extent of these storms is still yet to be determined, at least beyond this sort of first wave. So if we have a look at the latest sort of infrared satellite, this is used, well, to see sort of cloud tops, which are indicative of thunderstorms. So you can see right here this sort of dark, or this very sort of thick, opaque white. And this is higher cloud tops, so those cumulonimbus clouds reaching the stratosphere, forming those anvil clouds, and that's where we're likely to see the heaviest thunderstorms. And normally these clouds form before we see the lightning and before we see the very heavy precipitation. So sometimes it's better to look at the satellites. At least if it's up to date, it's better to look at the satellites for where thunderstorms are forming. So you can see right now, this is where we got our main lightning activity towards sort of Kent area. And then we do have some more cumulonimbus clouds forming just to the north of France and in the Channel as well. And then we've got our other area of interest in the Bay of Biscay. And then we've got the other big thunderstorms in Spain down here. So all of this is heading north-northeast and is going to be impacting the UK in some way over the next few days. If we do have a look at lightning activity, now the lightning activity is not too accurate away from sort of land. So what's happening in the Bay of Biscay at the moment, I wouldn't take this too literally, as again it's difficult to get all lightning strikes, especially over sea. But you can see at the moment we do have our active storms. They haven't quite made landfall yet. The heavier rain is starting to move into sort of Kent and southern parts of London, but the main sort of cells currently are just off the coast for Eastbourne and Hastings, and then we've got another cell trailing in behind in the Channel, making their way north-northeast, heading towards sort of Kent and East Anglia as well. You can see this lightning that is orange has been in the last 5 minutes, so you can see there's numerous lightning strikes in the last few minutes, so sort of lightning rates of every 5 or 10 seconds, or maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more, depending on how the storm holds up. But if we do look further afield, you can see more thunderstorm cells developing in northern France, and we see these big line of thunderstorms in Spain. So this is intense sort of lightning rates. If this came through the UK, we would really know about it. Intense lightning rates there along this line. Now, this is not going to directly be impacting the UK, but it's what could happen if the stars do align as this trough heads across the UK. But we'll have to keep an eye on how this develops to the north of the Bay of Biscay and in the Channel over the next few hours. If we do run it back a few hours, you can see how these thunderstorms did develop, very active in the Channel, have diminished a bit, but starting to pep up as they reach land once again. So we'll just really have to keep an eye on how that does develop. So if you do want to check out this lightning map for yourself, just go to the Met Office website and go to the rainfall radar map and just change the selection to lightning. And you can also have a look at rainfall as well. They've got their own map as well, which is pretty decent at looking at where the thunderstorms are. It's where these whiter colours are. But unfortunately, it's not quite as extensive as the Weather Channel map. So that's why I prefer to use the Weather Channel map, as it can show further afield into Europe. So now we'll have a look at the weather warnings. Now, the weather warnings haven't changed, but for anyone who hasn't seen them yet, it's pretty much 4 days of consecutive warnings in the east. Further westwards, only Wednesday and Thursday has warnings at the moment. They haven't changed, but generally it's for torrential rain, frequent lightning, and gusty winds. But I do definitely think it's the torrential rain and surface flooding which will probably be the biggest issue. Having a look at the radar, at the moment it does look like there is mainly a big broad area of rain with embedded thunderstorms. So the issues for most areas are going to be where we see that heavy rain and then a thunderstorm moves through with the surface already very wet, and that's where we could see sort of 25-50 millimeters in a couple of hours. So that's what's going to be probably the biggest impact from these storms. If we now have a look at the weather models, we'll briefly have a look at these just to see what we could be looking at over the next few hours. So this is from the midday run of the icon, so it'll be interesting to see how this developed, the system that we've just seen as of 9 PM. So as of 9 PM, you can see that the icon has predicted it reasonably well. I mean, it's moved a bit more progressive in reality, but it has started back building those storms in the Channel, and they are moving through with sort of round 2 of heavy thunderstorms in more central areas early tomorrow morning, within other active areas of thunderstorms which we're seeing at the moment, sort of clearing East Anglia. Beyond that, it's a reasonably dry day tomorrow before overnight into Friday morning we do see another sort of active line of thunderstorms which could be very similar to what they're seeing in Spain at the moment. I doubt it's going to be the exact, it's going to be that intense, simply because we don't have as much heat built up as they do in Spain. But looking at this map, looking at this radar precipitation prediction, it does look like we could be seeing sort of a line of storms heading into sort of essential and eastern areas, and could be very intense with big precipitation accumulations. So if we do have a look at precipitation accumulations, now do take you with a pinch of salt, because it can subtly change depending on where areas see thunderstorms. But generally, eastern areas could be seeing between 2 to 3 inches of rain. Further west, maybe only sort of 6 to 12 millimetres of rain. So it's going to be very variable rain amounts. You can see in central London, perhaps 60 or 70 mils, and then just to its west, 50 miles to its west, only 20 or 15 mils. So again, that's likely to shift with these storms developing, as it does look like, although the icon is getting it generally right, hasn't quite got the timings and the exact location particularly precise. If we do have a look at the arpège model, now this is the 6 o'clock run. So as of 9 PM, this actually doesn't show these thunderstorms developing at all towards sort of the Kent area. So the arpège, bit of a bust there with the arpège. It is showing those thunderstorms though in the Bay of Biscay coming up, being more active and heading through sort of western areas and central England as well. So it does look like the arpège is sort of badly done the initial first wave of thunderstorms, but the second wave that's going to move through early morning does look like it's forecasting a little bit better in line with what the other models are showing and what we're seeing on the live radar and the cloud images at the moment. Again, it's difficult to say exactly how it will develop, as all these models would be slightly different, but it is looking like encouraging that we're going to be seeing some thunderstorms potentially further west overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Beyond that, again, reasonably clear day, and then we do see those thunderstorms heading up from the south and skirting sort of central and eastern parts. Not quite as intense as the Icon run, but generally a very similar area. So it's looking encouraging that that's what we could be seeing. So some big rainfall totals potentially there. So for thunderstorm lovers out there, especially in the east, it's looking pretty encouraging for you guys. Those who don't enjoy thunderstorms, it could be quite a wild next few days. If we do have a look at the UK Met Office run, now this is a 3 o'clock run, so it should be reasonably accurate. So as of 9 PM, it is showing it reasonably accurate. You can see where the heavy thunderstorms are, just really here. Maybe an hour or so behind, as the rain is a bit further northwards than the Met Office run is. Showing, again, moving through eastern areas. It doesn't really show that second band of thunderstorms too well. Again, it's showing some isolated thunderstorms heading through sort of tomorrow morning into lunchtime and pepping up, especially in the London area. You can see they're isolated sort of pop-up cells. So UK Met Office run a little bit less bullish on the idea of a second wave of thunderstorms overnight into tomorrow morning. So we have to keep an eye on that. Again, it's not as quite bullish with this rain either, as this rain is a bit more widespread than this is showing, so perhaps the UK Met just isn't quite picking up on the extent of the widespread rain, and therefore thunderstorms as well. As we head through Friday, you see those other thunderstorms heading in from the south, affecting a bit further west than the other models showing, but quite intense thunderstorms in central and eastern areas as well, and then pulling away as well. Again, although the models are all showing this sort of thunderstorm risk on Thursday into Friday in a similar location, all the models are showing it at the moment in that sort of eastern quadrant. Again, we'll have to really look at it tomorrow just to confirm that, as again, the models are very much fluctuating between exact positions. It depends on what happens with the thunderstorms today and how that trough in Spain right now does move northwards, because that's what's going to be fueling these storms. If we now have a look at the Euro 4 run, again, if we do go to the UK map, this is the 3 o'clock, this is the midday run. So if we do run through, forecasting these storms pretty well, a bit further eastwards on these storms. It does look like these intense thunderstorms are going to be coming a bit further inland, and the rain is generally more widespread. So perhaps a little bit underdone there on the Euro 4. And then we see that second wave of storms moving through tomorrow morning into lunchtime. In eastern areas, but also in central and western areas. Again, Euro 4 is showing even some pop-up storms as well through tomorrow morning. So again, even though you may not be within these sort of mass areas of storms, there are pop-up storms forming in the northeast, perhaps clipping parts of Kent, as well as that second sort of wave of storms moves through. Beyond that, we see another wave of storms move through with some very intense storms in the east, perhaps the most intense cells staying off the coast and potentially to parts of sort of Netherlands, France and Belgium. But again, it is subject to change, and as we head towards the end of the run, we see that clearing off into the North Sea. So if we lastly have a look at the WRF, again you can see it's probably forecasted this pretty well. That's pretty much near the exact location that we're seeing the severe thunderstorms at the moment. Maybe a few hours too late, showing it at midnight tonight. Beyond that, you see again another wave of thunderstorms heading through central and eastern areas. Perhaps not quite as intense as other charts were showing, but again, it really will depend on what sort of convection we do see. And then through Friday morning, we see those thunderstorms develop, initially a bit too far east, but then they eventually do develop over mainland eastern England, and eventually do pull out into the North Sea. So all models are just roughly showing very similar things at the moment. There are subtle differences in exact location and in intensity, but it does look reasonably promising for those thunderstorm lovers out there that we are going to be seeing some quite intense thunderstorms. Some areas, unfortunately, will see a bust, where these charts are showing you getting thunderstorms, and unfortunately won't happen. Some areas probably won't be expecting thunderstorms and may see something quite intense. But that's just really the nature of forecasting thunderstorms. We can only give you the best idea of where we're going to see it, as again, it's all convection based. So it's very difficult to forecast exactly where it's going to pop off. But anyway, make sure you do check up with the radar and the lightning charts if you're interested in keeping up with these storms, or follow me on Twitter as well. I'll be posting updates every few hours on the progress of these storms. So yeah, check me out on Twitter, their link is in the description. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.